The sun hung low over the jagged ridge, painting the alien rocks in deep reds and oranges. The wind whispered across the cliffs, carrying dust that glimmered faintly under the dying light. From above, a young Apache girl moved carefully, her eyes sharp, scanning the ridge. She had been trained by her people to survive in harsh environments, but this world was unlike any she had seen before. Strange, tall plants with glowing tips swayed in the breeze, and the ground was dotted with rocks that seemed almost alive, pulsing faintly under her feet. She had come here alone, scouting for her tribe. The air smelled sharp, metallic even, and her heart beat with both caution and determination. She kept close to the edge, balancing herself on the uneven terrain. Suddenly, a shadow loomed from behind a rock formation, moving fast and silent. Before she could react, a force pushed her from the ridge. The world flipped upside down and she tumbled through the air, hitting the rocky ground below with a sickening crack. Pain exploded in her leg. She cried out, clutching it, tears running down her dusty face. Somewhere in the distance, a figure moved with purpose. A human, dressed like an old Western cowboy but with futuristic armor pieces, had been passing through the area. His boots crunched over alien stone as he heard her scream. His instincts kicked in and he ran toward the sound, his pulse quickening. The world around him seemed to blur, but the cries kept pulling him forward. When he reached the girl, he found her on the ground, bloodied and trembling. Her leg was bent in a way that no bone should bend. She looked up, eyes wide with fear and pain. He knelt beside her slowly, careful not to startle her. "Easy," he said softly. His voice was calm and even, carrying a weight of reassurance. She didn't understand his words, but the tone reached her. She flinched but stayed still, sensing that he meant no harm. The cowboy examined her leg. The break was severe. He had seen injuries like this in humans, but this was different. Her body was smaller, more delicate yet strong in ways he could not yet understand. He dug into his bag and pulled out strips of cloth and a small collapsible splint. Working quickly but carefully, he stabilized her leg, wrapping it tight enough to hold but not so tight as to cause more pain. The girl winced, tears spilling down her cheeks, but she stayed quiet this time. "Can you move?" he asked, testing the waters. She shook her head, her expression a mixture of fear and stubbornness. He nodded, understanding her pride and determination. "All right," he said. "We'll take it slow." He looked around. The ridge above them was dangerous, jagged cliffs and unstable rocks waiting to fall. Alien predators, creatures with glimmering scales and sharp claws, prowled in the distance, curious about the sounds of movement. He helped the girl to her feet, letting her lean on him for support. Together they moved toward a safer area, each step careful, each movement calculated. As they walked, the cowboy noticed how the girl's eyes took in everything. She studied the environment like a map, memorizing every rock, every shadow, every potential danger. Even in pain, she was alert, aware, and unafraid. He could not help but admire her courage. Humans often feared the unknown, but this girl faced it with quiet strength. They reached a small cave, hidden among jagged rocks. The entrance was narrow, almost invisible from a distance, but it offered shelter and safety. The cowboy helped the girl inside and sat her down on a flat rock. The cave was cool, damp, and smelled faintly of minerals and something sweet he could not identify. He worked carefully to clean her wounds, using antiseptic from his pack. She flinched when the cloth touched her skin, but she didn't pull away. Night fell, and the stars appeared in a sky unlike any he had seen before. Twin moons cast a soft light over the alien landscape, reflecting off crystal formations that jutted from the ground like broken glass. The girl shivered, and the cowboy draped his coat over her shoulders. "Better?" he asked. She nodded slightly, finally allowing a small, weary smile. They shared a moment of silence, the only sound the faint drip of water from a stalactite above. The cowboy realized that they were not just strangers thrown together by accident. They were two survivors forced to trust each other in a world that could crush them without warning. He respected her strength, and he could feel her respect growing for him, even if she didn't fully understand his words. The next morning, the cowboy woke to the girl already sitting up, examining her leg. She tried to move it carefully, testing its strength. He watched, impressed by her determination. "We need to get you help," he said. "There's a settlement nearby. I can get you there." She nodded, finally agreeing, and he helped her stand. Every step was a challenge, but they moved together, slowly making their way through the alien terrain. Along the way, they encountered hazards, plants with sharp glowing leaves that sliced through rock, unstable ground that threatened to collapse beneath them, and predators that watched from a distance. The cowboy used his knowledge of the land, predicting movements, setting traps, and finding hidden paths. The girl contributed too, guiding him through areas she remembered from scouting trips. Together they formed a silent partnership, combining human ingenuity with her instinct and courage. As they climbed a narrow slope, the girl stumbled. Her injured leg buckled and she fell forward. The cowboy caught her just in time, steadying her. "You're tougher than you look," he said with a small smile. She looked at him, a mix of frustration and pride in her eyes. They laughed quietly, a rare moment of lightness in a dangerous world. By evening, they found a safer place to rest, a shallow alcove with soft moss and a small stream of clear water. The cowboy tended to her injuries again, improvising bandages and applying salve from his pack. The girl watched him closely, her eyes filled with curiosity and trust. For the first time since the fall, she allowed herself to relax a little. That night, under the twin moons, they shared stories without words. The cowboy pointed to the stars and she traced patterns with her fingers. They understood each other in ways that words could not capture. In a universe filled with danger and uncertainty, they had found a connection built on trust, courage, and survival. As sleep claimed them, the cowboy kept watch, alert to every sound. He knew the danger was far from over. The raiders who had pushed the girl from the ridge would not stop, and the alien predators never slept. But for now, in this small cave, they had safety, and that was enough. Tomorrow they would face the challenges ahead together, each step a testament to human courage and resilience, and the unbreakable spirit of the Apache girl who refused to give up, even in pain. The morning light spilled into the cave, soft and pale, revealing the alien terrain in new detail. Crystals glimmered faintly along the cliff walls, and strange plants stretched toward the twin suns above. The Apache girl shifted carefully, testing her leg. The pain had lessened, but it was still weak. The cowboy knelt beside her, offering a reassuring smile. "We'll take it slow," he said. She nodded, gripping his arm for support as they prepared to move. Their goal was clear: reach the human settlement several miles across jagged ridges and alien plains. But every step was a challenge. The ground was uneven, sharp rocks jutting out like teeth, and strange vegetation threatened to cut or ensnare them. The cowboy scanned the area constantly, anticipating dangers while the girl moved carefully, her instincts guiding her through safer paths. As they climbed a rocky slope, a distant rumble shook the ground. The cowboy froze, listening. Shadows moved across the cliffs above. Raiders, likely the ones who had pushed her off the ridge, were searching for her. The girl's eyes widened, but she did not panic. Instead, she pointed to a narrow path hidden among jagged rocks. The cowboy understood immediately. They would use the terrain to their advantage, staying low and quiet. Step by step they advanced, careful not to make a sound. The girl's small hands gripped the cowboy's arm when the path became steep, her trust in him clear. He marveled at her courage. Despite the danger and pain, she remained calm and alert, noticing details he would have missed. Together they became a single unit, moving with precision through the treacherous landscape. Hours passed. The sun rose high, casting long shadows across the alien plains. They stopped to rest near a stream with water that shimmered faintly in shades of blue and green. The cowboy helped the girl drink, and she drank greedily, her eyes brightening with relief. "Almost there," he said, checking the horizon. In the distance, structures rose, tall human-made towers that signaled the settlement. But between them and safety lay more dangers, predators and the raiders, both relentless. The journey continued. They navigated through a valley filled with floating rock formations. Gravity behaved oddly here, making the terrain unpredictable. The girl's leg wobbled under the strain, but she refused to complain. The cowboy adjusted his pace, helping her whenever the path became too difficult. He admired her determination. She refused to let fear or pain control her. Suddenly, a screech echoed through the valley. Alien predators appeared, sleek and fast, their eyes glowing. The cowboy drew his blaster, aiming carefully. The creatures circled, testing him, their movements sharp and intelligent. He fired strategically, creating distractions rather than trying to kill outright. The girl watched in amazement, her trust in him growing. Together, they moved past the predators, ducking and climbing to escape. Hours later, they reached the base of a steep ridge, the last barrier before the settlement. The girl froze, fear flickering in her eyes. The cowboy knelt beside her. "We can do this," he said. She nodded, drawing on every ounce of strength she had left. They climbed carefully, her leg wobbly but supported by his steady presence. Each step was painful, each movement a test of courage. At the top, they paused. From here, they could see the settlement clearly, lights flickering in the distance, humans moving, unaware of the danger that had followed them. Relief filled the girl's eyes, but the cowboy knew they were not yet safe. The raiders were still behind them, and the alien terrain offered no guarantees. He glanced at the girl, seeing her determination and courage reflected in his own resolve. Together they would make it. The descent was slow but steady. The cowboy led the way, choosing paths that minimized risk, while the girl followed, careful with every step. They encountered small obstacles, loose rocks, thorny plants, but navigated them together. The bond between them grew stronger with each challenge, built on trust, courage, and mutual respect. Finally, they reached the settlement's perimeter. Guards spotted them immediately and rushed forward, but seeing the girl's injury and the cowboy's calm control, they hesitated. The cowboy explained their situation, using gestures and broken phrases. The guards understood and helped the girl to safety. She collapsed onto a soft cot, exhausted but safe. The cowboy stayed by her side, watching as medics attended to her injuries. The girl's people, who had been hidden in the settlement, emerged cautiously. Relief and gratitude filled their eyes when they saw her alive. The cowboy stepped back, giving them space, but the girl reached out, grabbing his hand briefly. A silent thank you passed between them, a recognition of courage, trust, and the bond formed through shared struggle. The settlement leaders approached, learning of the raiders and the dangers of the ridge. Plans were made to warn others to protect their people from future attacks. The cowboy offered his help, knowing his skills could save lives. The girl, now resting, looked at him with admiration. She had survived against impossible odds, but she knew she could not have done it alone. Together they had faced danger, pain, and fear, and emerged stronger. As night fell again, the cowboy sat outside the settlement, gazing at the stars. The twin moons reflected on his armor, the strange alien landscape stretching endlessly before him. He thought of the Apache girl, her courage and her unbroken spirit. In a universe filled with uncertainty, there were moments of clarity and connection, moments that defined what it meant to be human. The girl, watching from a nearby window, smiled faintly. She understood now that humans could be brave, compassionate, and strong in ways that even her people had not anticipated. The cowboy had proven it, not through words, but through action, through presence, and through unwavering courage. In the days that followed, she healed. Her leg mended under the care of the settlement medics, and she began to train again, stronger and wiser from the ordeal. The cowboy stayed nearby, offering guidance, protection, and friendship. Together, they began to plan how to protect her tribe and ensure their survival against future threats. The experience had changed them both. The girl's trust in humans had grown, her respect deepened by their courage and resilience. The cowboy, in turn, had witnessed a spirit unbroken by injury, pain, or fear. In a galaxy filled with danger and uncertainty, moments like these, the ones forged in courage, trust, and human will, were rare and precious, and so, under the twin moons and the alien stars, the cowboy and the Apache girl forged a partnership that would carry them through challenges yet to come. They had faced death, injury, and fear together, and had emerged not just alive but stronger, braver, and connected in a way that words could never fully describe. The ridge where it all began, the place of the fall, now stood as a silent reminder. Danger could strike at any moment, but courage, determination, and trust could turn even the harshest trials into victories. And in the heart of the human cowboy and the Apache girl, that victory burned bright, a testament to the resilience of life and the unbreakable spirit of humanity in a universe that often seemed determined to crush it.